Well, good morning, Kolter Homes. Yes, I'm talking to you. This is Mike Moore, and we're going to spend some quality time together the next few months. I promise you, I'm going to bring you my best, and I'm going to ask you to do the same. Pay attention, apply some things. My whole mission is to help you do what you do better and enjoy it more at the same time. But this morning, to get started, what I want to talk to you about and really think about this, I want to talk about the relationship between buyers and sellers. I'm not talking about just salespeople, but companies and consumers, talking about making sales versus making customers. Now, Kolter Homes, you're a customer experience company. That's your focus. But how do we get that really to make a difference in each of us? And what's in it for me? I said before, you do what you do better, but also enjoy it more, have more fun doing it. And the reality is that decades ago, we started in business trying to, focus on the sale, the transaction, and make sales. And salespeople, you made sales and handed a sale over to construction, customer service, the designers, and uh, all that did was make it hard for them to make them a customer. What has to happen for the whole team is for everybody to start from the first hello and every interaction together as a team. And we're going to talk a lot over the next few months about being teammates and what that really means, because you can call yourself a team, but if you're not teammates and acting like teammates, then you're not a team. You're just a group getting together to sabotage each other, whether you mean to or not. But the reality is, every intention you have speaks louder than your words, and they produce your actions. So what's my intent? That why? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And the purpose of business is to make customers. And truthfully, it's to make a customer, because you make them one at a time, one interaction at a time. And you can't do that if your intentions are selfish, because you won't be trustworthy. And the idea of I'm doing this to make a sale or to build a house or to fix a problem or to get them through the design process, in any of those, that's a selfish intent. My intent has to be to do what's best for my buyer. Now let that sink in for a minute, because in our culture, the last 30 or 40 years, when I say that to salespeople, customer service, construction, warranty, after move-in, designers, all of us, most of us here, well, that means I want you to do what's best for the customer, means do what they want. And that's not what I said. You're the experts, and you're an expert community team working together. Then your focus is to get the buyer on your page so you can serve them and do what's best for them. During this 3 or 4 decades of sales as we've seen it and business as we've seen it, we ended up trying to please people, tell them what they want to hear, instead of being honest and direct and helpful and being that person they could trust. So if you're going to build trust and you're going to be their preferred home builder and they're going to be a customer, and what does that mean? I've had companies where from CEOs down, and you're different. Talking with Bob, different. And I'm going to tell you, that's what excites me about you guys, because my job in life is to help people be odd. Yeah, odd. Dr. Seuss said it. It was, you have to be number one, you have to be odd, play on the odd and even. But the reality is, for me, odd is optimistically determined to be different. And all of us as humans wake up, we have the same default settings. And we're going to talk a lot about that as well, about our human nature and our default settings and how we disrupt those to become exceptional. You were created to be extraordinary, but you're wired to be average. And I'm going to help you come up with a real plan and a way to execute to be what you were created to be, not what you're wired to be, to overcome your wiring and become exceptional all the time and bring your best to everything you do. But let's get back to that idea that my intent has to be to do what's best for the customer. And that makes me the authority, the expert. We hear all the time people say, I want to get everybody on the same page. Usually what everybody means is my page. That's even what consumers want. And doing what we do, you manage chaos and confusion in an unrealistic time frame. And then you do it with customers who usually have unrealistic expectations. So if you're going to do this well, you're going to have to be mentally tough enough to really appreciate what you do and how difficult it is. If it wasn't difficult, people would build their own home. And most people have only tried to do that once and didn't complete it. So what you do isn't easy, but it's made easier, and it's made extraordinary, exceptional, and you produce excellence, and you win customers and make customers if you do it with your customer, not for them or to them. And that's an open statement. I can't do this to you or for you. We need to do this together. And the truth is, if you as a team come together, what you're doing, every one of your intentions in every touch is to do what's best for each other and for the customer. And now I'm going to be able to tell that customer they will be as happy as they participate in our process. We can't do this different for everybody. Everybody has different expectations and different desires. It's our job to get them on our page so we can then execute, perform, and be successful, and they become a customer. Now, I'm talking about 80 to 90%, and this is by survey, of the people on the planet that are going to be buying a house. I'm talking about those people who want a home, not just a house. I'm talking about 80 to 90% of the people who actually, by different varying degrees, are either compliant to non-compliant. And I'm going to say 1 to 10. 10 is totally non-compliant. And I said 80 to 90% of the people that's what I'm talking about that you can serve, help, and actually make them a customer. There's 10% that you can never turn into a customer. They don't want to be a customer. They want you to make exceptions to your process, to screw them up so they can leverage them to get more from you. And they're never done negotiating. That's the people that we don't want to sell. We want those to buy from our competitor, eat their time up, screw their attitude up. Most people won't talk about this in making customers or selling or doing business, because then I just gave all of you an excuse. Everybody that you don't like, everybody that's difficult, everybody you struggle with now is a 10. Not true. Remember I said 1 through 10. 10% are non-compliant. Now 8s and 9s are difficult. That just means we have to be at our best so that we can take those 8s and 9s and get them on our page and help them to become a customer. And what's a customer? Like I said, I've had companies from CEO down who had to redefine. So wait a minute, everybody we sell, we call a customer. Well, that's not the case. They're only a customer if you are their preferred home builder, and they would only buy from you after they've bought from you the first time, unless you just can't provide them what they want. Sales, you're not trying to convince people to become a customer. You're recruiting customers all the time. Is this the person you want in your community? Is this the person you want to be neighbors with the other people that you've recruited into your community? Now, those things said, and we're going to get deeper into all of this and how we do this, and I know you're working on setting expectations and handing off to each other home buyers with the right expectations. And I want to give you a little tip there. You know, it floats around all the time. I'm not responsible for what you hear, just what I say. Not true. Good communicators aren't just responsible for what they say. They're not responsible for what the other person hears or signs. That's a legal issue. What they take responsibility for is what the other person understands. So as teammates and with the customer, do you know that what you've said was understood as you said it? And have you had enough conversation to really understand both sides are on the same page? Our page, so we can execute and deliver and make satisfied homeowners. Now, that said, the customer experience starts at closing. The buying experience starts at that first shopping online, the first hellos. And our intent from the very first meeting all the way through has to be to do what's best for the customer, for the homeowner. So are we all thinking out all the way out till we're all gone, house is perfect, they're living in it, are we focused on that? I want you to think of Disney. If we focused on just the line, now they focus on moving the line to keep people moving. But if all they focused on was people being happy with the line, and when they finally got on the ride stunk, they'd have nobody in line. Our job is to keep the line moving and keep people satisfied with the process, but to make them a happy homeowner, period, a homeowner. That's what we're looking for. So that doesn't happen by accident. And it's not natural for all of us. We drive to the office, sales is driving there to make sales, and customer service trying to fix, and warranty service trying to fix problems. In construction, you're trying to stay on schedule and build a house. Those are all tasks you have to do. Designers, you got to get them through the process, get the selections made, keep them moving through the process. All those things are tasks you have to do. None of those tasks will make them a customer unless the interaction is to keep them on track and to actually make them a happy homeowner. So move your sight out. Give yourself a longer vision that every interaction you have is focused on after we're gone and are they happy? And have those conversations you're having, keeping the buyer focused. Because here's the thing, home buyers don't stay focused on their home ownership. They got a vision, they've shopped, I can't wait to move in, I know I'm gonna do this. But they buy and immediately get stuck. The first phone call they make, they're calling a loved one, a friend, family member, somebody to tell them, hey, I just bought a house. What's the first thing they get told? Well, the first question is how much you pay for it. It wouldn't matter if it was $5. The person on the other end of the line is going, oh my gosh, you paid that much. Holy smokes. Okay, it's just going to happen. I actually encourage you to tell the buyer, who are you going to call? And what do you think they're going to say? They're going to ask you about the price. If you set that starting expectation, you're the expert. Now, when they have that phone call, and they're going to have it walk into their car. They don't have to get home, obviously, anymore. They can do it on the way to their car. They can do it walking back through the model. And they're excited, and they get hit in the face. Oh, I got to work with my design. Oh, options and upgrades. That's all too high. No, we do personalized homes. We build personalized homes on a schedule. That's what production home builders do now. That's the managing chaos and confusion in unrealistic timeframes. And we do that, and it is difficult, and you do it really well. You do it better than anybody else, and you're trying to make sure your customer has that phenomenal experience, goes through the process, and moves into a home, and they love it. Doesn't mean it has to be finished. Nobody moves into their home, and it is 100% finished. Most nobody. I happen to be a new home buyer. I'm in that market that I only buy new homes. I've only lived in new homes. I wouldn't look at a used home. And you heard me, I did not say resale. No such thing. That's like a pre-owned, authorized, pre-owned, certified vehicle. What is that? It's a used car. And we've done a bad job of differentiating new versus used. It's new homes and used homes. No offense to all of you, but our industry is full of used home buyers. And we have to, it's okay. You can be a used home buyer, okay? You can be a used home buyer because you buy where you want to buy and you got 40 trades that work for you that'll fix your house up. That's not your buyer. Your buyer, the number one reason buyers say they buy a new home is that they didn't want to fix up somebody else's mess. Number two thing they want is to personalize that home. And if we do that well and make it their home and keep them focused on the ownership experience. And this isn't a new philosophy. It's a challenge for us in our industry. But Steve Jobs with Apple, he was challenged on stage by a tech guy who said, Steve, you don't understand the technology. Well, that's courageous statement. Jobs did understand it, but he didn't argue back. He said, you might be right, but if you want to sell a lot of anything, you're going to have to start with the customer experience and work back to the technology. Well, we have to do the same thing. Let's start with the home ownership experience, work back to our processes, work back to our interactions, and let's make sure we keep the buyer focused on the home and the ownership of that home and lifestyle. During the last 12 years, what's happened is the new American dream became lifestyle and experience, not home ownership. I own my home to provide me with a lifestyle. 2008 at Big Builder, their economist said to the top 100 builders that the home had replaced the car as the new American icon. I was there with a lot of my good clients. Looked around, I could tell a lot of them didn't understand what he meant. At the end in the Q&A, we went back and forth, and till I could get him to explain, that meant the home had become a fashion statement. It qualified us. It was always location, 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 and that, yeah, but now it was the finishes of the home, the outside, the lifestyle that that home provided had replaced the car. And that's continued to move that way. So now we're selling lifestyle. We want to be engaged, thinking like our new home buyers. Last year, there were almost 2 million people shopping for new homes who already owned homes, who went home and redecorated because they didn't get engaged and didn't have a new home sold to them as that much better than the home they were in. They just didn't see it. They don't want to buy a new home fixer-upper. They don't want to buy an old home that hasn't been lived in. New home buyers. So I want this as kind of an orientation for our time together, for you to get that I'm going to be talking to you about you and how you can be your very best in each of your disciplines. But I'm also talking about a way we look at business that elevates business. Now, don't get me wrong. The purpose of business is to make a customer, because the business with the most customers makes the most money. They do. There's no apology to that. It takes care of their customers and their employees because they're profitable. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but all technology, we talked about Apple and Jobs, all technology's gotten cheaper for the last 10 years, hasn't it? All technology. Everything except an iPhone. I mean, now we pay $1,500 for that iPhone. That's because we have a relationship with it. We don't think we could live without it. We can't live without it. I was going to show you mine and I didn't bring it to my desk. So, my heart starts to pound. Where's my phone? That's because they provided us with something that improved our life. Well, our homes have always improved lives. Now we do even more for buyers to improve their life. We build cleaner homes. We build healthier homes. We build fashionable homes. We do all those things that enhance lifestyles. And you need to be proud enough of that to brag about the process and what we're going to go through. Because again, it's not easy, but we brag about that process. We brag about 40 trades and 200 laborers, and it's done by hand and outdoors, and it can be messy, but the end is what we're headed to. So we're focused on that end result. We're focused on the customer experience from the first hello. So now my intention is to make a customer. It's to serve, not please. It's to do what's best for my customer as an expert. So now I become a trusted advisor who's helpful, caring, and courageous. And we're going to be that. And we're going to talk through how we do that. We're going to talk about each of the stages and our thought process and how to renew and refresh our brain and re-energize ourselves to do this thing that isn't easy. But then, no excellence was ever produced from easy. And you may have heard me say that in the past or on a video, but that's a reality. That's a truth. And then the truths that we're building off of with this is that you should do nothing out of selfish intentions or vain ambitions. It should be to serve. If you serve more people, you will have more customers and you will sell more, because sales happen based on your intent. You have 8 seconds when you meet someone for them to decide they like you and trust you. 8 seconds. 40 seconds in, you almost can't change their mind. That what's speaking to them, and it's scientific, it's biological, it's physiological, because it happens at the brainstem, that in those 8 seconds, chemicals are released that go to my stomach that give me a gut sense about you. And I'm only going to trust you enough to start taking the next steps and asking you to be my trusted advisor if I feel and sense that you actually care more about what's in it for me than what's in it for you. And that again won't happen naturally, because we get infected, bad time to talk about that, but we get infected with an anti-sales virus, which is the desire to make sales that makes us needy and wanty, and people can feel it. And now you're Salespeople, over, done. You're a typical salesperson because they can feel it. And it's airborne and it floats around and you get in a slump and it gets worse because you want to make a sale so bad. You got to let that go. You got to focus on how do I help these people? Because it's interesting too, over the last 35, 40 years in consumer surveys, when they shop for anything, the number one thing they say they want is help. They just no longer see a salesperson, or even companies for that matter, as a whole, as helpful. That's why you have to be odd, optimistically determined to be different. You have to be so different they can feel it. That comes from your intent. That's your why. When you hear those stories about start with why, it's your intention. Why am I doing this? What's my intent? And that'll elevate the quality of your interactions. And we're going to talk about how to manage this on a regular basis moving forward. But I want you to start by just starting to be self-aware of what's my intention. Am I going to just fix this? Am I going to just get this done? Am I just getting through the process? Because you have to. But is my intent in everything I do to make a customer, to do what's best for the customer? Am I focused on their after they move in, when they're a customer? Because in our industry, we celebrate closings. That's when they start to be a customer. I'll use Apple one more time. Their stores, when they opened them, they projected zero revenue. They opened the stores not to sell anything, but to serve their customers. They actually thought they'd buy online and then come to the Genius Bars and come for help and come to learn. And so their ownership experience would be good. They turned out that they were selling and have been selling more per square foot, but they've also changed leadership, and the leadership's taken them back to more of a traditional sales model, and their sales in store went down because that's not what any of us as consumers want. So when you're dealing with your home buyers, you're going to heal this relationship between buyers and sellers. Then you have to be different. I know you're different because you're at Kolter Homes. And Kolter Homes is different and wants to be different and wants to be more different. But I got news for you. Kolter Homes can't get better and improve unless each of you gets better and improves. So I'm going to sign off for this one with this message. Nothing's going to change in your life for the better until you do. You're going to have to look in the mirror, take responsibility, and go, I've got to change something about my attitude, skills, or actions if I want my circumstances and results to improve. There's our foundation. That's the equation. If you've read the Build Trust book, you may have seen the equation in it. Attitudes plus skills plus actions equals results. Let the results go and focus on the equation, and the results will explode. In fact, they'll be better than you thought they could be, because I guarantee you, as a human being, fellow human, your goals are lower than what you're capable of. What if what's your best isn't even close to what you think is good? It's way better. You think what's good's here and what your best is way up here. Let's focus on that equation together. We're going to do a lot of that over the next few months. I'm excited to be here sharing with you. Let's spend time together. And thank you, Kolter Homes, for being different and wanting to be even better. And each of you be thankful and grateful every day that you're in an environment that wants you to thrive and be your best. Thank you.